Hey guys, MCU Collector here, and I know this is the video that a lot of you guys have been waiting for. This is the Build-A-Figure video for the Hasbro Marvel Legends series X-Men Wave 4. This is Caliban. Now this is a different version of Caliban, because when I think Caliban I do not think this big guy, but this is the version from the Age of Apocalypse, in which he is one of the horsemen to Apocalypse. So I'm not real familiar with anything. My main exposure would be, of course, from the two X-Men movies in which Caliban was in. And yes, he was in two movies, because he was in Apocalypse and he was also in Logan, two different versions. And that it kind of is one of the problems that I've had with the X-Men movies. You know, if Logan's a standalone, it's good. When you look at the greater continuity and the universe that's already been established and shared, it doesn't make sense. But completely different topic here. Let's put together Caliban. We'll take a look at him. We'll go over the articulation. We'll rank all the figures here. And I know everyone wants to see it. We'll see all the X-Men together. I'll have them all together in here, which is going to be crazy because my review table is already jam-packed full of figures, and I'm going to be bringing out even more. We'll see how I get to put that together, but that will happen here. So we're going to get right to it and put this guy together. So always start with the torso, because that's the easiest. Then I move on to the legs. This is the right leg, so we'll just port that in. Left leg, just gonna port that in, or try to at least. Got it. You know what, this is actually a pretty tall figure. It's gonna be all out of frame already. Wow, much bigger than I thought, because he actually has pretty long legs compared. And we get the arms. Here we have the left arm. We're just gonna port that right in. Goes in very easy. Right arm just snaps right on in place. Wow, yeah, he's much bigger than I really would have thought. Wow, kind of surprised. And then we're gonna try and pop the head on. We're gonna keep trying. I think I got it. Okay, and there it, whoop, I gotta get him way back there. There is Caliban. And yeah, he looks good. Let's get a closer look. Okay, so before we look at the articulation, take some close-up looks at him. Now the figure, the skin tone that they use on him is kind of a grayish color with a little bit of a grayish, I guess the skin would be more white, and then there's a grayish wash that they put over the skin tone to give it the look. And it does look pretty good, and I think it's a little bright in here to really get that to look, so I may have to kind of change the lighting on there. But it does look good. Overall, the paint apps are done well. There's not a whole lot to it to begin with anyway. But one thing on my left eye, you could see it's not as smooth yellow as it is on the right. So on the left eye, it looks like either something got stuck and it kind of pulled some of the paint off. So it looks kind of funky just on that left eye. But that's got to be kind of a one-off issue that's going to be with mine. Probably not an issue with any of your guys's. But the head sculpt looks really good. I like the open mouth effect, because that is a separate piece glued into the head sculpt itself. That's how they can get it detailed, you know, with the teeth painted and all of that good stuff. So it looks very good. I got no problems with it. Looks good. Now the whole figure, the white parts of this whole figure is done in a metallic pearly color. It's got a satin shine to it, and I like the way that looks. The reddish color, you could tell like the plastic is the red color, but in the arms it's a different type of plastic, so it looks darker than like the torso piece where it's shiny. You could really tell in the legs, whereas these hip portions, the very top of the legs, are very shiny, whereas these portions are not as shiny, even though I'm actually looking at it here on the video. It looks to be the same. It definitely is not the exact same color, but we see that all the time because of the two different plastics. The color variation is going to be there. Then the rest of the legs are done in that pearlescent color throughout. It's very, looks very good. So I like the way that looks. Now one thing on mine, and I don't know if this is going to be with everybody's, you see like a paint flake right there, and I didn't do anything because I purposely wanted to show you guys. And then if you look there on the underarm, on the armpit, there's like the paint is flaking off of the hinge, like they actually painted some of it on there. so you can actually see like the hinge portion was actually painted with this metallic color, but unfortunately on mine, as you move it around and you move adjust the arm and the shoulder, that paint actually comes off, so then I could just peel it off and there it goes. So I like that Hasbro did that, but then it sucks because it just peeled right off. But it was a solid effort by Hasbro to do. It looks like some of it may have come off on the top as well, so you want to be on the lookout for that and be careful for that. But you know, A for effort, I guess, on Hasbro's part. So there he is. We'll go over articulation, and then I'm curious because this guy is so big. I'm actually put him up with some size comparisons, some other Build-A-Figure size figures. But let's zoom on out and take a look at the articulation first. Okay, so here's Caliban. So looking and measuring him out, he actually stands at right about 8 inches tall. So he's a good size, and again, after the articulation, I'll do a size comparison with some other Build-A-Figures, but we'll go over the articulation first. So he can look all the way down, which is great. Can look all the way up, so awesome there. The shoulder can go very high, but you want to be careful that you're not going to get the shoulder portion cutting into the arm, and then same as you rotate it, you want to get this arm out so you're not getting in the way and that cutting into the plastic. So you do get a full rotation. There's an upper arm swivel. You get a single jointed elbow, which gets you right at 90 degrees. You get a wrist rotation, and there is a hinge there. Ab crunch, you can crunch that far forward. You can go back probably too much, I would argue. Not quite enough in the front, but it works. Waist swivel there. Legs go out very far apart, so you can do the splits. Upper thigh cut, of course, because that's where the leg comes together. Get a double jointed knee, which works out really good. There is a boot swivel, even though it's not really a boot. It's kind of his foot. Foot hinges all the way down, all the way up, and you do get ankle pivot. So great articulation for this guy. Now let's compare him to some other Build-A-Figures. And just because I have these readily available, here he is next to Cole Obsidian. You can see Cole Obsidian really towers above him there. Here is the armored Thanos. You can see that this armored Thanos is just a little bit taller, but Caliban definitely is bulkier than him. Here is the regular Thanos. Leaning forward Thanos. You can see that a little bit closer in size, but Thanos still a little bit bigger. For fun, because I have him out, here he is next to the Hulk, the Age of Ultron Hulk, and you can see they are about the same size there, but Caliban is a little bit bulkier. Now I'm going to go out and get some other figures to test out. Okay, here he is next to Space Venom, and you can see he is much bigger than the Space Venom figure. And of course, to finish it off, we put him next to Apocalypse, and you can see Apocalypse stands a little bit taller, but Caliban is much bulkier. There you go. Of course, my Apocalypse wants to lean back. There they are. Okay, now let's rank the figures. Okay, so ranking them is actually going to be pretty easy. I just made some adjustments over here, but from left to right, this is exactly how I would rank the wave. Gambit number 1, because I do think that figure is absolutely awesome. Number 2, Beast, again, another great figure. Number 3, Jubilee. I really like that look for Jubilee. I have the previous Build-A-Figure, but that's the, you know, when I think Jubilee, that's what I think right there. Weapon X, very fun Wolverine figure. Skullbuster, even better than I would have thought. You know, I would have thought he would have been my last, but nope. Skullbuster gets bumped up a little bit. Blink next and Forge last, because it just, you know, it's not the character, it's the figure itself, Bucky Cap, being used. That really takes it down quite a few notches. But that's how I would rank it. If we're going to throw in the Caliban Build-A-Figure into it, I'd probably put him actually in between Skullbuster and Blink, because, you know, the figure's pretty good. It's fairly basic, nothing groundbreaking about it or anything. Character selection, you know, I'd be not familiar with the character or anything, but he would be placed right there, where all the other figures I like way more than the Build-A-Figure. Okay, now let's see some X-Men together, shall we? Actually, before we put the X-Men together, I have a couple of updates to some of the figures. So shout out to ToyShiz for noticing this on the Beast figure. So on mine, I think my legs were already down, but you can actually, you can hear that, you can pull them down to get you a much better range of motion, getting those legs up for Beast. I think mine was already down. That's something that I didn't notice. So yours might be up. You just pull the legs down and they click, and you can get them up higher, because you know you could do this like that, but if you have it that way, it kind of cuts into the leg and stuff and limits it a little bit. So shout out to ToyShiz. He actually has a video up of that now. I'll include a link to that video in the description. And then for Skullbuster, it's not so much the Skullbuster, but the Reese, the Murray Reese head. Tyrant Galvatron on the video had commented that the visor does come off, and in fact you can pull it off and kind of reveal the head there. So it's just interesting. Oh, and I lost it. Pretty cool that you can actually remove it, so you could kind of switch up different characters if you want to, like, army build some Reavers and things like that. You could do that. So there you go. Okay, so here we have the X-Men together. Now that's difficult to try and get so many figures in together to where you can actually see them all. Psylocke's kind of hidden back there. I forgot to include Iceman somehow, somewhere in here. I'm probably going to knock down Bishop. And just kind of hide him here in between Gambit and Rogue, I guess, and he doesn't want to stand. Yeah, and then Beast kind of hides, and Beast is kind of hiding Rogue there also. So the X-Men team is just growing so much, it's hard to include everyone in there. So, you know, this may not look great, but what I'm going to do is kind of bring it around, and you can kind of see everyone that's here in the team that we're building. So you see I have the Jubilee Wave Storm back there, and I wish, and I'm hoping one day we will get the Jim Lee Storm. I like the white suit version. We're getting a classic Colossus later this year in that 2-pack with Juggernaut in the 80th anniversary line. I would love an updated Jean Grey with the ponytail like from the cartoon, whereas this figure's a little dated. It still holds up, the Rocket Raccoon Wave of Jean Grey. I would like an updated one. We shall see, hopefully in the future. But the X-Men is really coming on strong and really coming along. So I think it's only a matter of time before we have anyone else that we could possibly want. Especially with the Fox acquisition with Disney, there's nothing holding back Hasbro from really going out there and releasing even more X-Men figures. This year is going to be huge, and next year probably even bigger. So I'm sure we'll see everyone in the team really rounded out. So here is the X-Men. That's my review of the Caliban Build-A-Figure, and that is my review and ranking of the Wave. You guys let me know down in the comments below, what are your thoughts on the figures? What did you think of Caliban? How would you rank the Wave? I am curious to know what you guys think. And then, what other X-Men characters are you really dying to see made by Hasbro? You know, maybe we've had a Toy Biz figure in the past, but what figure are you really wanting now more than ever that we got all these X-Men figures? Let me know. If you guys have any other questions, let me know down in the comments below. Hit that thumbs up if you guys liked the video. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. And as always, thank you for watching.